When asked who the father of her child was, Dakota Johnson was silent and thoughtful. A storm of questions. The Los Angeles sun was shining that afternoon as Dakota Johnson appeared before the cameras again, calm, elegant, but also emotional. After weeks of speculation about an unplanned pregnancy, she had finally agreed to attend a charity gala. However, everyone knew what was coming, the inevitable question. When a reporter gently asked, "Dakota, may we ask, who the father is?" the room fell silent. Dakota paused, her lips parted as if to answer, but then she smiled slightly, lowered her eyes, and whispered, "Some things are better left unsaid." That moment, captured in hundreds of photos, became the iconic image of the week. Hollywood was in turmoil, the silence spoke louder than any words. The mystery never fades. Since Dakota revealed her pregnancy shortly after her split from Chris Martin, the world has been awash with theories. Was the father her ex-husband, Chris? Her 50 Shades of Grey co-star, Jamie Dornan? Or someone else entirely? None of these men have spoken publicly, and Dakota herself has remained tight-lipped. Her recent appearances, ruffled dresses, light makeup, serene smile, have only added to the mystery. As one Hollywood journalist wrote, Dakota Johnson has mastered the art of enigma. In a town obsessed with oversharing, her silence is her strength. But behind that calm exterior, friends say she is quietly weathering a storm of emotions, joy, fear, and a deep need to protect what matters most. A life between two loves. People close to Dakota reveal that her relationship with Chris Martin ended not in anger, but in exhaustion. They spent 6 years balancing fame, distance, and a hectic schedule. Chris, with his world tours, and Dakota, with her demanding film commitments, gradually drifted apart. They never stopped loving each other, a friend shares. But love isn't always enough. And then the rumors began. Dinners with Jamie Dornan, emotional reunions, secret meetings in London. The two always had a strange connection that went beyond the on-screen intimacy. An assistant who worked on one of Dakota's projects put it mildly. They talked for hours. There was a quiet tenderness between them, like something was unresolved. That something could now lead to consequences neither of them expected. The moment that changed everything. Dakota found out she was pregnant in early fall. Alone in her Santa Monica home, she stared at the pregnancy test in disbelief. Her heart was pounding. She was silent for a long time, even with her mother, Melanie Griffith. She later confided to a friend. It wasn't planned, but it felt like it was. Like life was telling me to stop running. Her next decision was even harder, whether to tell Chris, Jamie, or anyone else. Sources say the night she last saw Chris, she tried to tell him. But when he started talking about the upcoming tour, she simply listened and let him go. He kissed her forehead and said, "You will always be a part of my song." That was their last moment together. Hollywood in suspense. When Dakota reappeared in public, the internet exploded. Her quiet disappearance turned into a storm of rumors. Gossip sites ran headlines like, "Dakota's secret baby, love triangle rocks Hollywood. Chris or Jamie, who's the father?" Even Jamie Dornan's name was dragged into the controversy. His wife, Amelia Warner, reportedly looked tense but calm when photographers asked about Dakota. Neither she nor Jamie commented, but fans noticed Jamie had turned off comments on his latest post. Meanwhile, Chris Martin canceled 2 press interviews, citing personal reasons. The story was no longer just a Hollywood story. It had become an emotional earthquake that resonated with millions around the world. Dakota vacations. To escape the noise, Dakota temporarily moved to a secluded house near Big Sur, surrounded by cliffs and ocean breezes. A few close friends came to visit her. One of them later told Vanity Fair. She wakes up early, reads, walks on the beach, and stays away from her phone. She's finding peace. In that silence, Dakota began writing again. Not scripts, not song lyrics, just thoughts. One friend described her notes as letters to her child, words filled with hope, fear, and love. She wrote about wanting to raise a child unburdened by fame. She wanted to give her child freedom, not expectations. Interview with the Time Stop. A few weeks later, Dakota agreed to a brief television interview to promote her upcoming film. Everyone knew the topic of pregnancy was inevitable. In the middle of the interview, the host asked gently, respectfully, "Dakota, everyone is curious. Can we ask who the father is?" There was a long pause. Dakota's eyes lit up. The studio fell silent. "You know," she said softly, "sometimes love doesn't need a name. Sometimes life gives you something so beautiful, you don't have to ask why or how. You just have to protect it." The audience fell into stunned silence. Then a gentle smile appeared on her lips, fragile but strong. She didn't say yes or no. She didn't mention any names. But everyone sensed the emotion behind her words. Chris Martin's private words. A week later, Chris Martin was seen performing at a small charity concert in London. Between songs, he introduced a new ballad called "Every Star Is Yours." In the lyrics, he sings, "We tried to hold the sky, but love is like a rushing stream. If she finds her sunrise without me, I'll still bless her light." Fans were in tears. Many believed the song was about Dakota, a musical goodbye wrapped in tenderness. After the show, he told a reporter simply, "Sometimes love is forever, even when two people are apart." He refused to answer any questions about the baby. Jamie Dornan's silence. Meanwhile, Jamie returned to filming in Ireland. Asked by reporters about Dakota's pregnancy, he smiled gently and replied, "I wish her happiness. She deserves it." But sources close to the actor say he was deeply affected. One crew member said he often walked alone after filming, listening to music on headphones, sometimes staring out at the ocean for hours. "He seems like a man with secrets," the insider confessed. The power of a mother. In her quiet world, Dakota found something she had never had before: clarity. She was preparing a nursery, reading books about motherhood and spending time with her family. Melanie Griffith, her mother, reportedly told friends, "I've never seen her so calm. She's doing things her way, and that's exactly how she should be." Even Antonio Banderas, Dakota's stepfather, sent his blessing. "Dakota is made of grace. Whatever path she chooses will be beautiful." The surprise press conference. 2 months later, Dakota suddenly appeared at a film festival, radiant, confident and visibly pregnant. The press was abuzz. Cameras flashed as she smiled and waved. A reporter dared to ask, "Dakota, are you going to reveal the father's name?" Dakota paused, looked around the room, and then calmly said, "I don't think the world needs to know everything. The important thing is that my children grow up knowing they were loved from the moment they were born." The applause was immediate, heartfelt, and thunderous. Some journalists even shed tears. A lesson in silence. In an age where everyone is chasing sensational news, Dakota's silence has become a powerful statement. Her choice not to name the father is not about hiding, it's about reclaiming her privacy, her dignity, and control of her own story. As one fan commented online, "She doesn't owe anyone answers. Her silence is more powerful than any confession." And perhaps that's true, because in her silence, Dakota Johnson reminded the world that motherhood doesn't require approval, just love, courage, and peace. A whisper of hope. As the due date draws closer, Hollywood has slowly moved on to its next drama. Yet Dakota's story remains tender, mysterious, and deeply human. One recent photo shows her walking along the Pacific coast at sunset, barefoot, her dress fluttering in the wind, hand resting on her belly. The caption she posted beneath it read, "Every soul knows its own timing." Fans flooded the comments with hearts. Chris Martin quietly liked the post. So did Jamie Dornan. And once again, Dakota said nothing. Because sometimes, silence is the most beautiful answer of all.